I wanted to start off, I always like to tell a story, let you know how things got started for me. In fact, my e-commerce kind of got started a little even before I started e-commerce. So in 1997, when we were pregnant with our first daughter, my wife told me, she said, "Frank, you need to make some more money." And so, having a child on the way. So there's actually, I'm going to use 3 words in what I talk about with video ads and with what I talk about before that. There's 3 words that I've just find that I'm using a lot with people that I'm coaching e-commerce, and then I see that also in the way I approach my business. So the 3 words are benefit, solution, and why. So having a daughter on the way was a real good why for me going out and figuring out how I'm going to make some more money. So I went from a full-time job that I'd worked for a company I'd worked for 8 years. I was an IT manager, and so 1997 was, it was really the height of the dot-com bubble, and so I was very easily able to take my experience, leverage that, and now I went into doing project work. So I'd work on different IT projects at different companies. And I did that somewhere around 2000. I did that for years, and it was very, very lucrative. It was very rewarding. I learned a lot, worked for some very large, multi-billion-dollar companies, and did some exciting things. Primarily what I did was computer network security for these companies. So I was making more, but I was trading dollars for hours. So I had to work those hours to have the billable hours. And so around the year 2000 or so, things in doing that wasn't quite as lucrative, and there weren't quite as many things for me to do. And I was working at a company at the time called Virgin Megastores, and I was involved with a project to put Wi-Fi in all their stores. And so as I was doing this project, I found that I was sourcing all this hardware to build their networks. And so I found as I was trying to source all this equipment that was needed to build these Wi-Fi networks, I had to go from one place from one store to another, and supply all this. And I thought, this is crazy. It would be so much easier for me as trying to build a network like this to just have one place I could buy all this. So I found a need in a marketplace, and what I did is I solved that. I built a one-stop shop where a company could buy this product. Now, this is not something that just I was able to do in a very short period of time. It took me a little while, little bit longer than I thought it would. I started selling items. I initially started selling them on eBay, and then I started having a few regular customers buy it on. I set up a little store, and it was actually a really ugly store, but it sold product real well. I didn't quite grow as fast as I needed it to at that time. So I took one last 6-month project that I worked for a large pharmaceutical company. But I knew that e-commerce was what I wanted to do when I finished this 6-month project. So I already had the business going. I didn't want to stop it for the 6 months. And I was determined to make this thing work. So at the time, I was driving a Chevy Suburban to and from this job, and I kept inventory in the back of the Suburban. And during my lunch hour, I would pack boxes in the back of my Suburban, take them to the UPS store, and ship them off. And after the 6 months were over, the business was still kind of on idle, and I started bringing a lot more inventory, started in my garage, and then, things have just gone out. Within a year or so, they were out of my garage, and then it went on from there. So fast forward till today, So I've been doing this altogether for about 16 years. So as I was starting to sell on Facebook years ago, the photos were great for selling products, but you had to select products that showed themselves well in photos. And about 2 years ago, I really started jumping into doing video ads. And really, about a year and a half ago, I started actually really trying to optimize these. And this is what I'm going to show you here today. But very quickly, I want to talk a little bit about my product selection. And this is really where the benefit, and I heard someone mention earlier about find solution-based products. But so when I look at a product, I want something that's going to have a benefit and or solution. Then I need to ask myself, why would someone want to buy this product? So I want to have some empathy for that target audience and why they would buy this. At the same time, it's so important that you understand your target audience. I see so many people that they want to jump in and they think, oh, this is a hot marketplace. I want to jump into that and sell something, and they don't know anything about it, and they just get frustrated. And a little bit more about product selection is since I've been moving over to video rather than just using photos. What I typically do is every week I'll order 3 to 5 samples of a product, and with everything I'm doing, I don't have a lot of time. I like to make my own videos, but I don't have a lot of time to do that. So I ordered all these things on a regular basis, so I have this constant stream of samples of one thing or another. By the time I sit down and actually make that video, I've picked like the best product out of that. And so not only is video a much better medium to communicate to your potential customer the potential of the product, it also, I now see that I end up only doing the best products, and that makes that even that much better. So what I'm always looking for is a high quality overall product offer. All right, so now let me make sure I hit the right button to get to the next screen. Okay, so one of the things to understand about Facebook is the number one most important thing to Facebook is the user on Facebook. It's not us as advertisers. We're just number 2. The number one thing that Facebook wants is the users to have a good experience. Without the users on Facebook, and there are 2 billion active Facebook users, the number one thing to Facebook as a company is that the users have a good experience on the platform. And I'm going the wrong way. Okay. So that user experience is number one. So I like to distinguish the different. Sometimes people think, hey, okay, user experience, that just means it's lots of engagement. Yes and no. I like to separate that from just specifically people that like to comment, and share, because you can actually pay for an engagement. We can run PPE campaigns and spend money on engagement, and that will get more of those. Oh, and just so you know, your monitors up here aren't showing anything. And what's extremely important about providing that great user experience in a video ad or any ad is it will drop your cost per 1,000 impressions. So when you run your website conversion ad, it is even though we set an objective as purchase or add to cart or view content, even though that objective is set, we are actually paying for impressions. So the lower we can drive our impression cost, that turns into lower overall ad costs, lower costs per purchase. Okay, and so here's a little example, and with this is one of the products, when I was transitioning from photo, just static images, to a video, this is extremely dramatic results. Just go through a couple of the numbers here. This is and what I did is I took this is my before and after, and I looked at after picked a time frame for image ad and the video after $1,500 in sales. Well, you can see with the image, it cost me to make $1,500 in sales. It cost me over $700. With the video ad, it only cost me $250. So, and what it came down to is with the video ad, it only cost $2.72 per purchase versus a static image at $8.25. Now, this is from a test I did about a year ago. Of course, things are always changing on Facebook, but I still see the same dramatic difference when I've tested it even in the last few months. In fact, I find that the image ads just work so poorly that these, right now, I mean, actually for the last year, I've been 100% video ads. Okay, so having a great ad is part of the puzzle of making something successful. You still need really great targeting and just a fantastic product, and the right product in front of the right group of people. So let's get into what things need, the way you set up your video ad and how it should be put together. So I show these images. So I show these images of, we've got some sports commentators, news commentators, and there's a restaurant in South Pasadena that our family liked to go to, and they had really good hamburgers. And one of the things they had in there is they had monitors all around the room, but of course the sound was muted. And at home, our family, we don't watch broadcast TV, but we watch plenty of Netflix and Amazon. But one thing I noticed, and I'm a person that I don't like watching TV commercials. But when we were in the restaurant, I would notice on all the news shows and the sports commentators, if you look, and I'm sure everyone has noticed this, I mean, there's the talking heads, they're talking, but there's always some form of motion going on in the background. There's some loop of some interesting graphic, or there's monitors in the background. There's something going on. And what's interesting about that is that really grabs your attention. I think if we were watching the news and the person had just a static background, maybe just one color, and nothing else was going on, and all it was a talking head talking, I think people would get bored very, very quickly. But that motion that happens in the background, that subconsciously, that keeps your attention on that screen. So I'm going to give you, this is my basic outline for a video ad. So in the first 5 seconds are extremely important. If you can't get somebody's attention within that first 5 seconds, in fact, you really need to get their attention in the first couple seconds. But that first 5 seconds, you should be able to communicate completely what you are offering. I mean, really, everything in 5 seconds. If you're solving a pain point, that needs to be in there. If you're going to demonstrate the product, that your target audience should have full comprehension of the offer 100% within 5 seconds. All right? But if you can keep them watching longer, you can reinforce that and show it more and more things. So first, typically, kind of a standard outline that I use. It's not something that can be applied with everything, but when I have a product that has some form of solution or or benefit, especially those kinds of things that solve a problem. What I like to do is that first 2.5 seconds is show the problem. I'll demonstrate the problem in the first 2.5 seconds. And those that haven't done video ads before, I mean, I know the first thing that comes to mind, I think, how do I show this in just 2.5 seconds? You do it very quickly, is what you do. Because visually, you can do things very, very, very quickly, and you can compress it. And I'll show a little bit about that towards the end. The second clip, I show the solution, and show it in a big way. Always make the product the star of your video. It should be the star, should be at the beginning, should almost be throughout. And now, there are lots of different products. A lot of this takes some imagination, and it definitely takes practice. So first scene, the first clip, 2.5 seconds. Second scene, second clip, 2.5 seconds. That's like the most important part. If you miss out, if you have things in the wrong place at the wrong time within that first 5 seconds, you may have the most beautifully done or best video that you think is the best video, and it just won't work. The third clip should be around 10 seconds or so, and the remainder is needed, and there should be constant movement throughout. This means you cannot use slideshows. So let me just answer that question I always get. Slideshows, in my experience, and I've worked with lots of people on this. So I want to talk about a little bit more about this. I've been doing e-commerce for 16 years. About 2 years ago, I started doing coaching. I've shown this outline to many people. I've had a gentleman, October of last year, that I worked with. Had a beautiful video ad, very, very nicely done. I'm not going to say what the product was, but I'll tell you that it was an item that was being sold for Christmas, and it had lots of motion in it. And I had talked to him, the first time I talked to him on a one-on-one call, he showed me his video, and he was telling me about his struggles. So we talked for about 30 minutes. He showed me his ad, and right there on the call, I said, okay, take this scene, put it up front, do it for so many seconds, take this other scene you already have, and make it like a time lapse, speed it up. And then I basically gave him a recipe to re-edit his video ad. Well, he went from struggling to making profitable sales to within 6 months, he sold $1 million worth of that product just by changing the order and the timing of what he had in an existing video. I haven't run across a similar situation like that since, but I've had a gentleman just in my group just let me know yesterday that he followed exactly the same thing when he was working with products, and he was able to take, within 6 months, did $1.8 million in sales on a product just following this type of outline. All right. Okay, and the last thing I have here says used text overlay genuinely. So whatever I show visually, I reinforce. Whatever I put in this text overlay, I have in there is to reinforce what I'm showing visually. And this is also critical. Because the sound on a video doesn't matter at all, because the vast majority of people will never listen to it. So you need to tell the story about your product visually. It has to be done visually, and then they use a text overlay to reinforce that. But it's critical that when you're showing a problem, if you're showing the problem in the video, then the problem needs to be mentioned in the text. When you're showing the solution, you also mention the solution in the text. So it always needs to match each other, what's visual and what's in the text. Okay. And like I said, first clip, show off the product or pain. Second clip, show off the product. The third scene where I said it was around 10 seconds, the third scene, you reinforce the solution. Okay? Adapt what I'm telling you as needed depending on your product. Many products don't follow this exact outline, but use your imagination and follow something similar to this. Third, reinforce the benefits and solutions. You want, if they keep on watching, you want to reinforce what you've already showed them, because you need to drill it in visually, okay? And the remainder, just as needed. I like to have videos a minute and a half. I like them longer. Okay. Another thing at the very bottom here is something, if you do this right, you're going to drop your CPM like crazy. The very last item here, at 8 to 12 seconds in, if you can give your target audience a genuine reason to keep watching, your cost for your ads will just drop like a rock. And and there's some other benefits from that that I'll be talking about in just a minute. So think about the product you're providing. Not all products lend themselves to something like this. If you have something like on the slide that I showed you about the comparison in costs, $2 versus like $8 per sale. That's where I learned this. So I was selling a product using an image. And before I did a video, I used image ads. And I noticed that in my comments that lots of people were asking the same question over and over and over again. And I had my VA was in there answering, oh, this is what you do, this is what you do. Well, when I made the video, I thought, hey, well, why don't I answer the common questions in the ad? And so this product, it was a cleaning product. And so the comment I always had in there is, okay, I use the cleaning product. It's really cool. I want to buy it. But once I use the cleaning product, how do I actually clean the cleaning product? Do I throw it away? Do I buy a new one? What do I do? So when I made the video, I just went through a whole tutorial on how to clean the product, and I kind of made it fun. And that video, my costs dropped because this video ad got so much real engagement, not just something I paid extra for on a website conversion ad. I was getting comments, likes, and shares like it was some sort of viral thing, because people shared it with their friends to say, hey, yeah, look at this. This is how you actually clean the cleaning product. And then, of course, they'd buy also. So if you can do this last line here, get people to watch longer, then also you can throw that into an engagement audience and do some fun things with that too. Okay. So video outline. So at 8 to 12 seconds, give the user a genuine reason to keep watching. So, think about a niche that you understand, and you're selling something to them. What do they want to see? If there's nothing else to show, well, in some cases, I'll show how to assemble something, and be creative. You can be funny. Give them a pattern interrupt. Something that will get them to keep on watching and remember your ad. So keep watching for instructions, help, or anything else. So also important to render your video square, not 16 by 9, not like these screens. You want your video to be square. So when I shoot it, so most, your camera, your phone camera has been mentioned is an excellent video recorder. So when, see, hey, I got my pattern interrupt. You're not going to forget me dropping my phone. Okay. So when you're using your phone to create that video for your ad, just keep in mind, where your product is on the screen. You want to keep the product center, so it's the focal point of the video, not off to the side. Don't let the product be out of frame. It's going to take a little practice, and then when you bring that video from your phone into your computer to edit, you need to make sure everything stays within the frame. Okay. Yeah, that's just, if you can be funny about something, or you can do something to get people to remember your video, it's great. But it's real important to get their attention right at the beginning. So our previous speaker mentioned about how the quality of these. Anything in the last 2 or 3 years is an excellent video recorder. But when you are making your product videos, you need a tripod. You need to stabilize your phone. Get a tripod. I like this kind that has a little trigger on it. Makes it really easy to get that your phone level and just in the right place. Otherwise, you're unscrewing some sort of knob to do it this way or that way. It's much easier to have this kind of trigger grip and to move your phone around so it's level. And then get a tripod holder for your phone like this one. And that works. They're all over Amazon. You can even buy these holders on AliExpress. Okay. Some of my best, you don't need to have a studio. I don't do anything. I don't buy any photo. I don't have any lighting that's professional photographer lighting. Just a desk lamp with a good incandescent bulb is excellent for extra lighting. So color correction, you're going to need to learn to do some editing. Okay, but some of my best-selling products, I just put them on my coffee table and did a demonstration with them. Your phones, for those that, if you have some photography experience dealing with DSLRs or doing manual exposure, then this part you'll understand. But all your phones are going to automatically be auto exposure. That means, so if I were to take a picture of an object on a white table like this, the background is going to turn gray. If I took a picture of an item on a black table, then it's going to make it gray. So your phone doesn't understand the context of the lighting, and so it's important to have sort of a medium background if you're doing videos with a product, especially when you don't know how to do change the exposure on their phone. Most phones allow you to do it. I would definitely suggest that you look into the instructions on your phone and learn how to do this. It can make the videos much, much better if you can adjust as needed. But if you use a medium background, in most cases, everything will just be fine without having to do that. And let me go to the next. Okay. So with videos, what I found is to start. I often see people, especially when they're starting off, they really try to sell like inexpensive items, thinking it's selling inexpensive products or cheap products because they think it's going to be easier to sell something because the price is lower. And I completely disagree with this. I think with video, you want to try to push yourself to sell more expensive items and that do more things. So I'm trying to sell something for a $9.95 price doesn't give you a product that will allow you to scale effectively, like import the product in. You definitely want to. Doing drop shipping from AliExpress is great for testing, but you want to make sure that you're working with products that give you the price advantage and the cost advantage of being able to buy it in bulk and continue to make a good profit with that product. But I'm working with people that sell $100 plus items with cold traffic on Facebook ads, and they're making profitable sales every single day. Okay, so if you'll play this ad right now. And we'll watch it all the way through, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, you could stop. Can you go to the first scene in that? Thank you. And just stop it. Oh, can you pause it on the first one? Okay, so here I'm showing the problem. Oh, one thing I just note that throughout the video, there's no dead spots. It doesn't just stay on one thing. There's always this constant motion. Everything, there's motion all 100% all the way through. Can you forward it just a little bit so it has the text call out right there? So you can see my hand there trying to plug in the cord. I'm trying to illustrate the pain point. You get in your car, take your phone out of your pocket or your bag or whatever. You put it in the stand, and then you've got to plug it in if you want to keep it charged. So I'm trying to explain the pain point right here. I'm having a hard time plugging that in. And then I do the text call out to reinforce what I'm showing visually. Okay, now go to the next scene, please. Thanks. And stop right there. Okay. So a couple things. There's a whole bunch of things on the scene I'm going to tell you a little bit about. So it's only 2.5 seconds, but I spent some time trying to make this exactly the way I wanted it. You see that when I put the phone down, it illuminates almost instantly, right? Okay, in reality, it takes 2 seconds for that to happen. So it's critical that whatever device you're using to record the video is on a tripod. If it's not stabilized, then you can't do edits like that. This is important to compress the time in that scene. So can you replay the start of this scene again and then pause in the same place? Just start at the previous scene. I know it's, okay. Okay, stop it again. Okay, I took out, there's probably a quarter of a second I took out. So you see my hand come into the screen and place it in there. Well, I thought that was too much time showing my hand. So I took maybe a little quarter second out of there, maybe an eighth of a second. So I'm trying to compress the time. I want to show as much as possible. Just having my hand in there for just a fraction of a second is enough for people to understand visually exactly what's happening. I'm putting the phone on a magnet, and it starts charging. All right? So another little thing that I did in this scene, you notice the first scene was black and white. And so I did that just to kind of, I don't know, I think I saw that somebody did that in an infomercial, and I thought it was an effective way of doing it. Kind of have it darker, got the text call out. In this scene, inside the video editor, I use Camtasia. It's the one I know how to use. It's the only one I know how to use. I can adjust what's called the saturation, which bumps up the colors. So I wanted, when the power came on and the screen illuminated on the phone, I wanted that to really pop out. And just the standard, if I didn't up the saturation, that wouldn't pop out. I want to grab people's attention, and I want to keep it. So I want to do that throughout. And you can see, and also one of the things I do is I have my watermark is in, you can see it a little bit in the text call out here. It's looks like 3 pine trees. And that is, I have a watermark that moves around, and it's slightly in the background. You wouldn't really notice it unless you, that's just so I can, I want to try to protect myself. I want to always be able to identify if something, I was to have a dispute with somebody, I always want to be able to identify that this is my creation. All right, so now if you'd go to the next scene, please, and just let it play through for a couple seconds. And if you could pause it right there. So in this scene, when I was filming this, when I was recording the video, I was where I came up, I didn't know, I was trying to figure out what I was going to show next. I thought, hey, why don't I just show the same thing 4 times? So I only had the one phone, so I didn't want to just show the same thing in all 4 scenes. So the only difference between these 4 scenes is the background on the phone. So I didn't want to bore people with just seeing the same pattern or image on the phone. I just made it different just to kind of mix it up. And that way, it's a little more attractive to the eye. And you can see in this scene also, there's always constant movement. There's not any lag time. And as soon as the action, whatever I wanted to show is finished, I move on to the next scene. And so the rest of this video is just about, then I show, play the rest of it, please. And can you mute the sound on the video? And then I just show it further back, kind of just show what I'm doing and what it is, how, here is just how to put it in the vent. And I show the same thing again. I just show it over and over, but not exactly the same way every time. And I show a little bit more about the product. And then, so what I like about longer video ads is now I can create an engagement audience, and I use it like it's retargeting. So I'll set it for 5 or 7 days, and I'll test both the 75% viewers and the 95% viewers, and just run the one that works the best. It actually took me 2 tries to make that. That was my first time doing a recording of a video inside of a car. I spent probably an hour or 2 the first time, and then I brought the device. I brought in all my video in to edit it, and I realized that the phone screen had loads of reflections all over it. So the next day I went out and did it again, but I parked the car under a tree, and that helped me prevented almost all the reflections. There's still some there. If I did it again, I would probably put a tarp over the window. But those are the kinds of things as I go on. my video ads get better and better and better. And let me see here. Let's go to the next one. All right. So I know there's lots of people who see something they think is great on Facebook. They see a great Facebook ad, they see that video, and what they do is they download that video from Facebook, and they just make their own ad. They're basically stealing somebody else's video. The time is going to come, and it's going more in that direction where Facebook is going to be better at enforcing the digital rights. And those that are just stealing content, stealing the creative content and reusing them, put themselves in jeopardy, put their Facebook ad account in jeopardy. So I highly recommend that you do make your own videos. So in my process, I order samples, and I end up because I just order things on a regular basis, I end up only making videos for those best, the best items that come in. Some items, they'll come in and I handle them, I'll use them, and I just won't even use them because I don't like it. And the other thing is if you're those that are just copying what they see successful on Facebook, then you're not actually learning how to pick products. It's extremely important to master that. It's something that you'll start, and it's difficult, and there's definitely, I don't do 100%, but it's something that takes time, and it's important to learn, because just as the previous speaker talked about trends, so if you're always copying someone, then you're always kind of you're at the lagging end of it, and it's very difficult to run a business where you're always kind of on the tail end of somebody else's trend. What I'd like for everyone here is to learn how to make their own trend, make your own trending products. So the difficulty I have is in people do copy my videos, and then I have to notify different places to see what I can do to take them down. And as time goes by, Facebook is going to get better and better at enforcing that. So what happens is in this process of going from images, from photos, to doing videos, is the products that I end up promoting are much, much higher quality than just testing a whole bunch of products with images. All right, some of the really great things about video ads is they end up being very easy to scale. Often I see a lot of discussion about, okay, on Facebook ads, do I budget scale? Do I duplicate the ad set and do a new budget in here? Do manual bidding? And all these kinds of things. You know what? What I find when I have a really great product offer, that means a really great product targeted well to a big audience, and I've got great ad copy, and all these things are in alignment, every single method of scaling works. Scaling is not just a trick, but I put more effort into my product offer than trying some ninja trick, because the Facebook pixel is only as good as the offer that you're advertising. So that's the only time when you truly can leverage the Facebook pixel is when you have truly a fantastic product offer. And the last bullet point here, ads become evergreen. I have offers now that have been running for 2 years and don't show any sign of slowing. I've got a cluster of them when I was really starting to make that 100% transition from a year and a half ago, that I've got a whole cluster of video ads that still are still running from that time frame. All right. Any questions? Yes. Do you want people on the mic? Yeah, so let's get that on the mic.
Hey, Frank. How you doing, man?
Hi.
So what do you do for retargeting? Are you doing DPA? Are you doing slightly different cuts of videos so it looks more unique? Are you using videos in retargeting?
Well, I'm not really. Usually I end up using just the same ad for retargeting, and it converts extremely well.
Okay, so you don't try different cuts of that ad or any scenes that you didn't use
You
or
know,
anything to make it look different?
I think, yeah, I've done that, and that works well also. But usually I just don't get around to doing it. I know it's a great way to do it. I usually don't get around to it because my just retargeting even just the same one works so well.
Cool.
Hey, Frank. In your product research, to determine what products, you look at when you do your research, like most of us probably do, you do research whether on Facebook, Google, whatever it is. When you come across some products that you see may have some potential, do you order those samples at that moment, or would you test them with the drop shipping offer first, and then once you gain some traction, then you'll order samples and then make videos? What? I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, and I don't want to put your cart in front of your horse. So how does that work?
I order the sample first, make the video, and test it with the video ad. Okay. So I always have the product I always have seen and used the product before I even test it.
But you did that product that you determined you're going to order a sample of. What led you to determine, out of all of the many products that we have interest in, or we can do research on, what is it about that product that causes you to say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get the sample for that, and then move on from there?
Yeah. Okay, so I typically, when I sell a consumer-related product, it's going to have some sort of unique solution or benefit. So I'll just give, a quick example. So, I sell a lot of outdoor-related products. So I wouldn't just sell a flashlight, okay? But if the flashlight has, something extra in it, like it has a built-in laser, or there's something else unique to it. So like the magnet charger that you just saw. So I let myself be inspired by other ads, but I don't sell the same products. Okay. So I go one of two ways. So I got an idea of this because I saw someone selling a magnet holder in your car.
Yeah.
Well, I have my phone. My phone supports wireless charging. I have a wireless charging pad in my office. I can put my phone down and it charges. I thought, okay, that's cool. That's a magnet. It holds your phone in the car. But it would be great to have a
charging feature as well.
A magnet that also has a wireless charger. And so I went on AliExpress and I found them. Mm-hmm. So I like those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. Yeah. I see someone else. I see someone else selling something. I'll do a couple different things. So I see it, and I'll go find out AliExpress, and then I'll also go in and look around to see if there's something better, something that has an extra benefit or solution or some sort of feature that makes it stand out. Well, I also, when I see something that I like on a Facebook ad, I'll go in and I'll click through the ad, and I'll look on that store, what they're selling, and I'll right mouse click on the image. I'll do a Google image search, and I'll go find that product on AliExpress. So now I'm inside of I like AliExpress. It's a great place to find. There are millions of products there. So I'll go in there and I'll look at, I'm not going to copy what that other person is selling. Mm-hmm. But okay, so now I've done this Google image search. I'm inside AliExpress in a place, in a way that I myself have never been in that place before in AliExpress. So I look at other things that seller's selling. Mm-hmm. I'll look at other sellers down below at the bottom of that product. I'll see what else is going on in there, and I get ideas. And when I see something I like, I just add it to my cart and I buy it. Yeah. And so you buy a handful of samples every week. And then as these constantly come in, I pick the best ones. And I only pick those based on my understanding of that target audience In many cases, I often sell things to those targets where either I'm one of those people or I understand that audience very well.
Okay. So ultimately, it's looking at a trend of a product. If this product seems to be doing well, what is the niche that this product is in, or is there any other way that I can bring something of more value to this product?
Right.
Because it already shows some success.
Well,
you're looking for.
Yeah. I don't like to use the word trend.
Okay.
Because I don't follow trends. I don't go to Amazon and find what's trending. I don't go to eBay and find what's trending. I don't go to Watch Count and find what's trending. I'm trying to serve the marketplaces that I understand, that I already sell in, to find other things that bring them some sort of benefit or solution.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at trends, but to marketplaces that I understand.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
My question is about, you know how yours has a very subtle watermark? I noticed on other videos they have a really big and obtrusive, and it says whatever their storename.com, so that no one ever gets any of their videos. I'm just wondering, have you split tested? Does it make a difference whenever you have a really subtle watermark versus a really obtrusive, pretty ugly watermark? And then my second question is, how long does it take if you notify Facebook about a video that you see someone else copying, and then is that the process, and how long does it take?
Well, first one, I haven't split tested that. I've seen the ads like that. And if I were to do a big obtrusive, I would have it dissolved more than what I normally see. I would make it a lot more subtle. And the second thing is that I don't know. I just send the notice. Usually if I can, I will. If the store has contact information on the store, I'll notify them first as a courtesy. And then I haven't had a problem with that.
Okay.
Because they know they've been had. So, and it's not that big of a deal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. It says my time's up. Any more questions? Anybody else?
Okay, I'll try to make this quick. I actually had a couple questions. First one, you mentioned a video editing software that you use. What was that, and how simple is it? That was the first one. Second one, I know you mentioned a lot of your clients are finding products that they're selling for more than $100. Are those products that they're sourcing from AliExpress? Because the products I'm finding on AliExpress that could sell for $100, I tend not to trust because they're more electronics, or is that okay? And then the third question, can you expand a bit more on manual bidding and kind of I know there's a lot of strategies.
Well, okay. So the first, now you have forgotten the first one.
Okay.
So,
sorry. Yeah. First one was the video editing software.
video
and the
editing.
simplicity
Okay.
of it.
So I use Camtasia, which for anybody that does records video screens to do training, that's a typical one. It's just the one I know. Just use the one you know. There's many of them out there that are inexpensive, like Vegas, and then as far as but I just use Camtasia because that's the one I know. But as far as product prices, I didn't say that most of them are doing over $100 type products, but some are. So the price, I don't see the price so much of an issue as having the right product for the people you're promoting it to. So and that's where whatever you do, create that avatar of your target audience, understanding what they'll buy. So that's that. Those products aren't necessarily from AliExpress. Usually those higher ticket items are actually products made in the U.S. Okay. So you find people that are manufacturing products here, higher quality, but overall, to determine the right product, you need to understand what your target audience is looking for, or what they might know. But so the more you know that target audience, the easier it is to sell the more expensive items.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for because
Yeah.
I've just been taught to stay away, generally speaking, from electronics from AliExpress.
Right.
Do you have any manufacturing platforms you would recommend checking out for U.S.-based manufacturers?
I'm sorry, what was it about U.S.-based manufacturing?
I was saying, do you have any platforms that you recommend for for finding U.S.-based manufacturers?
Well, the easiest one is using Google. That's over the years when there's a product that I've wanted to sell, when I was while selling the Wi-Fi networking electronics, is I would just go on Google and find distributors. So I'd find products that I knew what I wanted to sell already in many cases, and I would just go search for the people that had them or manufactured them or distributed them.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And then, well, you asked quickly about manual bidding. There's lots of ways of doing it, and the way I do it, I typically start bidding low and move up the bid higher, but I found that in order for manual bidding to work, you really need to have a really great offer. I mean, all the scaling methods work when you have a really great offer. That means a great ad, fantastic targeting, good ad copy, and a website, your product landing page has to be excellent as well. And then those things work.
Awesome. Thank
Okay.
you.
First, this is really amazing information that you've given all of us. So I have so many questions that I want to ask you, but I'll ask 3 just to shorten things up. So the first question is, what campaign types do you do? Because I'm doing video views, engagement, and website conversion. But what do you do? What's the best campaign?
Almost everything I do is website conversion.
So you don't do video views campaigns?
No, I've tested them all. I have one item I'm selling right now that's actually converting well with PPE, but it's the first, and I usually do a bunch of test different things every month, and this is the first time in 2 years that PPE is converted into sales for me, but it's selling consistently and scaling very easily with website conversion. And I usually just do purchase, and that's what I find works the best. But yeah, most everything is website conversion.
Okay. Then my next question is, for the ad type, I remember I did an ad once where it was a video ad where someone on a mobile clicked on the video. It just put the video in halfway full screen, but under it loaded the website already, so the person just scrolls up and the website's already preloaded. Do you do those type of video ads or no?
Well, it automatically does that, and I always do video link posts.
Okay, so whenever someone clicks on your video, it does load the website for them?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think, it does.
Because I did that, and I was getting a lot of view content pixel fires, but it wasn't really view content. They were just viewing the video, but it loaded on my website, and I got 2,000 view contents, and I was the drop off rate's terrible.
But you could, if you're getting a lot of people watching a long time, do the video engagement audience, and then you can. Okay, so if they're watching video, you've got the video engagement audience. If they view content, you can still retarget all those people.
Gotcha.
Okay, but what's worked best for me are the video link posts. So you got your square video, and then the link post has a call to action at the bottom, and then you have a headline under the video. And absolutely, split test those headlines. I find it can make quite a big difference.
Okay. And my last question is, for items that really don't have that they're not really solving a problem, just items that are cool gadgets and whatnot, because I know you said the first 2.5 seconds should showcase the problem and the solution afterwards. Mm-hmm. So how would we make those videos if it doesn't really solve too much of a problem?
Well, definitely you want the constant movement, but if it's a really cool... Now, the only thing with electronics that are even slightly complicated, they will, you typically have lower margins on those. So you want to make sure you pick things that have higher profit margins. But with something that doesn't really solve a problem, it's just really cool, then you'd still want that constant movement. You really want to show it off. Okay, just keep showing it off, doing different things. Gotcha. And that's what you do. But you need that constant movement that in the video. That motion is very, very important.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey Frank, this was an amazing presentation. I have a quick question. When it comes, I actually do have two questions because he asked one of them. The first one is, if you're doing print on demand, what kind of videos would you do? If I'm doing a print on demand product, like let's say a T-shirt, and it's not really solving a problem, as he said.
Okay.
What kind of video would you use?
Dan, can you show the T-shirt video?
Oh.
While he's doing that, do you have another question?
And the second question is, you just talked about product margin. So when I have a product and when you're scaling, your cost per purchase usually rises a little bit. So what is the minimum margin that you're trying? I guess my question is, what is your pricing strategy? What margin are you looking for?
Well, you can just play this while we're talking. Everybody will see it. Just put something in the background, make it move. You don't want to distract from the product itself. So it's in the background. It's dissolved somewhat, and zoom in and zoom out. Just experiment with this.
Absolutely.
Okay. So with margins, I like to, say my ideal is 3 times cost.
Okay.
But I can't always do that.
Okay.
If my margins are a little bit smaller, but I can get a really low cost per purchase, that's great too.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
So you mentioned that after 7 days you focused your audience a little better. I thought I heard you say something about like 90%, like the audience engagement or something, and I just missed it, and that's why I was coming up to ask. You said that for 7 days you might target a little bit better.
Well, no, okay. What I do is create an engagement audience to retarget, so for 5 or 7 days. So now we have people are watching the video ad, so people that watch the video ad longer are more likely to buy. So even though they've clicked on nothing, Facebook knows where that video is on their screen, and mostly on their phone. So if they've watched, I've got a 1-minute video and they watch 50 seconds of it, Facebook knows that. And so I can build an engagement audience inside audiences for the people that have watched 75% and 95%. And then I said like a 5 or 7 day, rolling 5 or 7 days back. Then I can retarget that ad to those people that watched longer.
Got it. Thanks.
And never clicked.
Great.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
My name is Raza. Question about, I'm assuming you're doing a general store when you're doing different products?
Well, yeah, I have 4 Shopify stores and a BigCommerce store.
I see.
So yeah, you have multiple places, yes.
So when you have a general store, my question is about pixels. Also, like when you're maturing your pixel on a general store, but you're doing like a cell phone magnet holder, right? And is that pixel going to be maturing for that particular magnet holder, or is maturing for the store as a whole?
So this kind of goes back to what I said a little earlier. I really don't worry too much about the pixel.
Okay.
I focus my effort on creating a great offer, and the pixel's only there to help me. So the pixel's not going to make you sales, but having a really great offer. So even if say I had a general store and lots of cell phone stuff was sale, I've plenty of times have had something that is in it that's in a different niche that does well also, because I have a really great offer. So my answer, you can definitely, there's apps that will allow you to split up the different pixels on your store, but I really haven't had to worry too much about that. I worry more about making a really great offer than what the pixel's doing, because if things work, if your offer works, the pixel will follow.
Okay. My second question is, I had one of my general store open first time, did a video ad, and first ad went out and disabled the account. So then after
what Facebook policy did you violate?
It said that my URL in the display area didn't match the URL, but it did because it was just shortened. It was a Google.
Okay. Don't use shorteners.
Okay.
First rule, my almost number one rule of paid advertising is you send all your traffic to a domain that you own and control.
Okay, but if you're using, let's say, a funnel, let's say using a funnel, and that link is long, how do you put it in the display area?
Well, when you can control the domain, you can modify that too. I mean, you can actually do a shortener inside of Shopify. You may not know that.
Oh, but if you're using an external, like a ClickFunnels, or using a different...
Okay, well, ClickFunnels, you're going to use your own domain, and you can change the URL to your heart's delight, to how shorter or longer.
Okay.
So ClickFunnels, you use your own domain.
Right.
Shopify, you use your own domain. Stop using Bitly and Google shorteners, because when people, they can see your traffic statistics and the countries you're targeting, and then you also break Google Analytics by using the third-party shorteners.